Hello everybody, Coach Hogan here from Atomic Masculinity, coming to you from my house here in the great state of Texas. It is a beautiful day in Texas. It's glorious. It's 45 degrees, a few little patches of snow on the ground, rapidly melting, but with a full sun. So the sun is warm. You don't even need a jacket out there. And right when I get done with this video, I'm going to go out back, fire up the smoker, and make a Texas brisket. So it'll be about 50 degrees, beautiful warm sun, Texas brisket smoking. Probably gonna fire this up and try out some Peterson of Dublin, good Virginia blend, good country music. It's gonna be a great day in Texas today. I wish that you could be out there with me. I think you'd have a good time. You know, the first part of my career, I was a Texas high school football coach. Very blessed to be able to do that. I say first part because I don't believe in retirement, but very blessed to work with a lot of talented young men and young women during their teenage years and trying to invest there. Today, I have a mentoring business that I absolutely love. I do keynote speeches all over the place. I do some life coaching for CEOs, and I still do some corporate training for companies. But today, my favorite interaction is helping guys from age 18 to 35 to acquire an understanding and truth about how the world actually works, to give them wisdom and tools to have success in their life. I love to do that. I love to help people make as much money as they can possibly make. I love to help people succeed in relationships, particularly family, because that's the unit that civilization is built on. And to help people have a purpose in life, to find a good purpose in life, to help them prioritize the most important things. So when I do this, I use permanent principles and timeless truths because they have many applications. So today's topic is one of those types of applications. Today's topic is how to gauge your toughness as a man. How to gauge your toughness as a man. Now, the reason this is important is because the formula I'm going to share with you today is very relevant in your success in lots of areas. The formula is over 2,000 years old, originated from a bunch of great thinkers and doers a long time ago, and of course, virtually all wisdom is from people who are dead. But that's another video for another day. But today the topic is gauging your toughness. So my definition is not purely physical, though that is a small part of it. I'm talking about how you perform as a man. And a lot of that is based on your mindset, your mentality, as it were. And so here is how I gauge the mental toughness of a man. I simply find out one thing, and that is, what is your breaking point? What does it take to break you? How long is it before you start thinking about how tough it is, this thing you're doing, whatever it is you're involved in? What's your breaking point? Remember, I'm not talking about a physical breaking point, although that could play a part in it. But for the most part, I'm talking about your ability to perform mentally. How long can you hold concentration? How easily distracted are you? You know, we know little boys are easily distracted. What level of resistance do you have to encounter before you give up? What's your breaking point? You know, it's always the individuals that cannot sustain mental toughness that cost everybody else. I've coached a lot of men in many areas that have nothing to do with football. In fact, I'm about to give you multiple examples where the concept of your breaking point is very relevant to the success in your life. Now I'm going to start with something obvious from my work life, and then we will get into some other examples. So the first thing would be, as a Texas high school football coach, I always challenged our players at the beginning of the year, and here's how I framed it. How many plays in a row can you play at the level that is our standard before you have an unforced mental error or before you succumb to the Spartan-like conditions that is football? How many times in a row can you play to the how many times in a row can you play to the standard that we define for our program? So you're going to get beat up. You're going to be physically challenged. You may get beat on a play. You're going to be tired. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a battle, especially against teams that are good. And so the question is, what kind of problems do you have to encounter before you cannot play with the same focus, the same energy, the same enthusiasm, everything that's required to play at the standard that we define for our team? You know, it's interesting. Over the years, I tell parents at the beginning of the season, this is one of the attributes that determines not only if you make the varsity, but if you get on the field, how much playing time do you get? I mean, there's a lot of guys that I've coached over the years who are not the most talented, but they're just tough. It is a long way to find their breaking point. And then you also have the opposite of that. You have Johnny, who's a good guy, everybody likes him, good athlete, but he's going to make a mental error 1 out of every 4 plays. So, while he's physically able to perform at the varsity level, he's on the JV. What can I do? You lose most games not because you're physically overmatched, but because you have a lapse ranging from incremental to large mentally. Most games are lost from the collarbone up. And so, your breaking point played a big role in who played and how often they played. So let's use an example that maybe you've encountered before. Many of you can probably relate to. How about your workout plan? Maybe you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. Maybe you're out of shape. Maybe you want to get back to a certain thing. Maybe you just want to build your body and look good. And you decide you're going to start working out. Now, we know how this goes. At first, you're pretty ambitious and you say, I'll work out 6 days a week, maybe 7. Then it kind of goes to 5. Then you miss a workout or 2 because something important comes up. You know where I'm going with this. And so you work out for a week or 2 or 3, and then suddenly your workout's put on the back burner and you say, I'll come back to it later on. So what was your breaking point? A week? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? At some point in time, you had a breaking point. And that breaking point tells me where you are in your physical goals. What about this example? Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to start your own business, but you work somewhere else right now. But you've decided you're going to make your side gig your main thing. How many days in a row can you work on that? At first, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of excitement. And then you go a couple of weeks and you run into your first big obstacle or challenge. Then you go a couple more weeks and there's a few more challenges than you anticipated. And suddenly, you're not sure if it's actually worth it. Is it going to take me 5 years to replace my current income? Maybe it's not as easy as you thought. Maybe things go good for a couple of months. But there is a breaking point for most people. Okay? Most people cannot go out and start their own business, be an entrepreneur, because most people have a breaking point that is earlier than the price required to start their own business or to be an entrepreneur. There's a breaking point that plays into this. Here's another one. And I know these lessons are great for men and women, but here's one that is mostly associated with young guys. See, sadly, in the United States of America, the first pornography that a young boy sees is, ready for this, age 8. It's pretty sad. But somewhere along the line of a late teenager or early 20s, guys look around and say, man, what? I got to stop this. I got to stop looking at this. I got to stop. This cannot continue to play such a large role in my life. So they say, hey, I'm done with this. I'm going to stop porn. Maybe you get an accountability partner. I don't know. Maybe you put some kind of software on your phone that will help and will block some of that content. We did, I don't know what it's called, but we did some of that with our kids when they were growing up. We put certain, I'm not even sure what it's called, but you get the picture. You put something on your phone, you get an accountability partner, whatever, and you start going through this, and you don't look at porn for day 1, and then day 2, and then day 3, and then maybe day 4, you slip up, or you work your way around the filter somehow. I mean, you're the one who put it on, so you can work your way around. Day 4, you give in, you look at porn again, and you call your accountability partner and you tell him what happened or whatever. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. That means you're a 3-day breaking point. That's it. Your breaking point's 3 days when it comes to porn. You say, "Gal, that sounds pretty weak." Yeah, it is weak. I used to tell some of our players, "What, you're making a mental error after 3 plays? So you're a 3 freaking play player? That's what you are. It is what it is. Until you can go 5, you're 3. Yeah, okay, so you're 3 days when it comes to pornography. Your breaking point is very important. Whether or not you're trying to make your body look great, whether or not you're trying to start a side business, whether or not you're trying not to look at pornography, your breaking point, do you see how whatever your breaking point is has a lot to do with your success in a lot of areas of life? I'm going to give you one more example, but before I do, I just want to remind you, if you're watching this and you feel like this content is valuable, I want to ask you to subscribe. It'll help me in putting out some of my mentoring stuff online here, and then also you'll be alerted when there's new content. So let me give you another area, okay? And maybe some of you have experienced this. I know I have as a Christian. Let's say that you want to improve your spiritual life, your spiritual growth. So you decide, you know what, I'm going to church, and maybe sometimes I'm going to church, maybe even out of obligation. I've been there before. And then you say, but I got to start working on me. I got to get better. I got to spend more time in prayer, or I got to have a devotion time. And so you decide you're going to, read the Bible 10 minutes a day, or use a devotional tool for 10 minutes a day. And you decide you're going to do it in the morning. So do I even need to explain where this is going? You're good for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, maybe 2 weeks. And then something happens and you miss it one morning, and then you say, you know what, I'll do it tonight. But then the football game's on tonight. And so you see where this is going. So you have a breaking point of what when it comes to your spiritual development? What is your breaking point? 5 days? 7 days? I think you can see the valuable lesson and the relevance of success with being tough, making your breaking point way down the line. Listen, in any area of life that you want to improve, in all the major areas of your life, there's a process required for that improvement. Therefore, there will be multiple areas of toughness that will challenge your breaking point along the way. The longer you can go without breaking, the more success you're going to have regardless of the endeavor. I'm going to say that again. The longer you can go without breaking, the more success you're going to have regardless of the endeavor you're involved with. Men who are tougher get more things done. Men who are harder to break make more of an impact because the threshold to make them give up is much further out. So therefore, they're able to succeed over and over and over and over in all the most important areas of life. So that's my concept today. Gauging your toughness based on your breaking point. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button to stay updated on our future content, and you can check out our podcast at atomicmasculinity.com. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email also on that website at the tab labeled questions. I hope this content was valuable for you, and I hope you can use it to reach some of your goals. So I'm going to get outside and get that brisket going. Thanks for being here.